Welcome to the program. I'm Ayotunde Balogun. The Nigerian Association of Liquefied Petroleum Gas Marketers believes that there needs to be more conversations on the adoption of renewable sources of energy. Now, this is the crux of a national conference with the theme Sustainable Energy Growth in Nigeria.
The search for sustainable energy growth in Nigeria has attracted policymakers, lawmakers, as well as industry players to the National Liquefied Petroleum Gas Association 2024 conference. With the entrance of more investors and attention gradually shifting from the use of fossil fuel to cleaner forms of energy, the association believes there's a need.
You will all agree with me that in the recent year, a lot of change has happened to the oil and gas industry in Nigeria. So many progress has been made, and there are so many miles to be covered. And as a stakeholder that is passionate and concerned about the future of the industry, we deem it fit to call a meeting of stakeholders and brainstorm on some of the opportunities we have and other challenges. Whatever we discuss here is going to be a communique that will be sent out to the public, to the government in authority as a way forward. And we find it essential that there's a need for us to meet and provide how we want the future of this industry to be shaped.
With Nigeria's proven natural gas reserve of 206.53 trillion cubic feet as at January 1, 2021, according to the Department of Petroleum Resources, the federal government invites all to make its gas plan work.
Our target is ambitious to increase LPG consumption in Nigeria to 5 million metric tons per annum by 2030. This goal is achievable if we continue to build the necessary infrastructure, ensure market stability, and promote policies that incentivize investments in the LPG value chain. I commend the Nigerian Association of LPG Marketers for your critical role in this value chain.
Safety amidst the adoption is a major concern for the Lagos state government.
You need to work more with our states. We need to partner effectively and efficiently. While as a government, we put a lot of organization to ensure safety of life and property, to ensure that you bosom economically with your products. We appeal to you to please pay your tax very well.
The federal government has been seeking ways to accelerate gas adoption, not just for LPG, but also CNG. The latest being a flexible payment plan for the conversion of vehicle engines to run on compressed natural gas as part of efforts to get Nigerians embrace the fuel as an alternative energy source.
Nigerians today woke up to an estimated 12.7% rise in the cost of premium motor spirits, PMS, also known as petrol, and this is the second hike in a month. Now the price jumped from 868 naira to 998 naira per litre for Lagos residents, while pump price at fuel stations in the Federal Capital Territory climbed to 1,030 naira per litre. According to the national president of the Petroleum Products Retail Outlets Owners Association of Nigeria, Petron, Mr. Billy Gillis, the more recent fuel hike is shrouded in a lot of secrecy. Now, the Petron president, who was a guest on our breakfast program, The Morning Brief, said the NNPCL price template does not reflect refinery owner Aliko Dangote's input, and that it may just be time for the private refinery operator to speak up concerning this matter. Mr. Gillis Harris said this is important because the same refinery has been very plain with the price of diesel it sells to marketers.
As I speak to you this morning, I don't know what Dangote's price is all about. And that is speaking a lot. Because at this point in Dangote's campaign into Nigeria, retail outlet owners like us should be able to know this is how much Dangote is willing to sell to us. And we have kept that shrouded in secrecy up until now. NNPC came out and gave us a price template. That also did not tell us what is the exact price input, from Dangote. So we will encourage Dangote to open up space of communication, talk with all the stakeholders, get valuable inputs from everybody, because it's a business that involves Nigerians, retail outlet owners like us, marketers, and different consumers. I'm unable to confirm to you if Dangote increase their prices or reduce their prices because we are not aware. I can tell you about their price for diesel because the diesel prices were made known to us. Most of us patronized the diesel, prices. The diesel purchases. So we know when they increase, we knew when they reduce. But in the case of the PMS, I don't have any information. And so I'm incompetent to make any input into that.
Emmanuel has said that until the NNPCL makes an official announcement that the price of PMS has been effectively deregulated, a commercial player cannot send out a price template.
I'll tell you what is going on. Until NNPC writes Dangote and writes Nigerians and tell Nigerians that sections 205 and 206 of the PIA has been complied with and the market has effectively been deregulated. Because as we speak, NMDPRA regulates Dangote, and Dangote is subject to regulators. Today, as we speak, until there's official communication, not the closed-door meetings they had in Lagos earlier this week, to the public and to the refinery, the price of PMS is still regulated by the government. And if the price of PMS is regulated by the government, a commercial player in the midstream sector cannot come and send out a price template because it's regulated. Diesel is not regulated by the government. Diesel was deregulated by the government more than 10 years ago. Jet A1 was deregulated by the government more than 10 years ago. So, of course, the refinery can produce price on that. But for PMS, the market is still regulated because there's not been any official communication.
Cameroon President Paul Biya's absence from public life has fueled widespread speculation about the 91-year-old leader's condition. The president has not been seen in public since September the 8th when he attended a China-Africa forum in Beijing, China. He missed some events which he was scheduled to be at, such as the United Nations General Assembly in New York. But in a statement, the head of Cameroon's civil cabinet, while condemning those he called mischievous individuals for speculating about the president's health and eventual death, insisted Mr. Biya is in excellent health. New South Africa Broadcasting Service, a news outlet based in Houston, Texas, has reported that Mr. Biya is dead and stands by its story, challenging its critics to discredit the story by bringing him out for the public to see. So, joining us to discuss this topic is policy analyst and executive director, Africa Policy Forum, a London-based think tank, Eric Acha. Eric Acha joins us from Luxembourg today. Welcome to the show, and thanks for joining us on Network Africa, Eric.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
All right, so let's get into the thick of it. What indeed is happening here, Eric? Sick or not? Dead or not? What do you think about the furor surrounding this question on President Paul Biya of Cameroon?
I think you're asking the same question which everyone is asking about the whereabouts of the president, because is he alive or is he dead, or where exactly the president is something which every single Cameroonian wants to know. And not just Cameroonians. I think we are today in a situation where the whole world, the international community, is reacting. The information has crept into the international community, and questions are being asked now all over the world. Where is President Paul Biya? Is he alive or is he dead? You must remember, this all ignited or started was fueled by the same government when they, out of a sudden, on the 3rd of this month, planned a program where they wanted to celebrate the president's life unannounced on the 4th of October. This pushed Cameroonians to start querying what exactly is happening. And then news started filtering through that the president was in a coma, he had had an operation of prostate cancer, he had died, and almost everything you can imagine. And the government remained silent, saying nothing about the situation until when the world started reacting, when the market started reacting. I'm pointing it to the markets because you may not be aware, Cameroon is a very regular customer in the international debt market where sovereign bonds are being sold. And as we speak today, they have just closed a bond sales in July, what is commonly referred to as the Cameroon $750 bond, which is a 7-year maturity bond that was scaled at 10% for a 7-year period. Now, reports came in, reported by Bloomberg yesterday, that that bond or the Cameroon debt had fallen to the bottom scale of world sovereign debt. And this created a situation where the government was forced to react. And that's why you must have seen multiple communiques being issued, first by the Minister of Education, Bamdongo, followed by the Minister of Communication, Rene Sadi, and then even the Director of the Civil Cabinet, Mvondo Ayono, as you rightly pointed earlier, issuing communiques. What must be pointed out here is, in those communiques, there was lots of inconsistency. And one saying the president is doing extremely well, and others citing that no, he is in Geneva on his regular vacation. Now, what Cameroonians are asking is, if the president is alive, as you are claiming, if he is healthy, as you are claiming, what is more challenging? Is it to issue communique after communique, or bring the president, put him in front of the camera, and let him talk to Cameroonians? People want to know where the president is. And that question, as I'm talking to you today, hasn't been answered. So those communiques are just as irrelevant as they were issued, because the key question hasn't been answered. Paul Biya has not been seen in public since he left China.
Now, Eric, indeed, so much to unpack, but just a little digression, perhaps. Now, in this part of the world, I mean, in Africa, African leaders, whenever this sort of issue comes up, it tends to cause a whole lot of reaction, should I say, from citizens and even political opponents alike. What do you think is the mood right now in Cameroon, particularly for those who are opposed to Paul Biya's presidency in Cameroon? He's been there like forever. And we're having this issue, and this is quite similar with some other African countries that we've been able to experience in time past.
Absolutely, I think you are spot on that. Now, this boils down to one issue: the personality cult, which is created around our leaders in Africa, where people believe, or those around the head of state, or the head of state himself believes that his health issues should remain, or should always be a top secret. Because, believe you me, there would have been nothing wrong if the president was unwell and the government came out clear and said, given the very charged program which the president has had over the last couple of months, he is feeling tired, or he has had some medical emergencies and is undergoing treatment. I am not sure the situation will be as bad as it is today. But because there is this personality cult where they always create a situation to make the president feel like he's immortal. Mind you, we are talking here of a 91-year-old president who has been at the helm of the country for 42 years. He joined the government in 1960, in the 60s, after just finishing his education in France. He came in, worked as a secretary at the presidency for the former president, Amadou Ahidjo, and then was parachuted to the position of prime minister, where he held from 1975 until 1982, when he became president. From 1982 till this day, he has been president. So the situation or the circumstances here are not about someone who is in his 40s or 50s. It's a 91-year-old, meaning that even if he is dead, it is normal. He is not immortal. At some point, he will die. We all will die. But because of the personality cult, because those around Paul Biya have made him feel like he's immortal, that's why they are playing this hide-and-seek game and keeping Cameroonians in suspense at a point where the country should be preparing for its transition. Cameroonians in Cameroon who are opposed to Paul Biya desire one thing at this point. You have caused so much mayhem, you have caused so much chaos, you've caused so much pain to Cameroonians. at this point where you will soon be exiting, the least Cameroonians are expecting from you is to ensure a smooth transition. Now, you creating this chaotic situation where nobody knows where you are, nobody knows the condition of your health, is leaving many asking too many questions. Many questions are being answered. And those who have thought that he could do what Cameroonians may even forgive him during his last days are beginning to say, you know what, this man, the Paul Biya man, is showing so much disdain for Cameroonians. It is painful, and nobody's happy about that.
All right, so in the event that the president is dead or dies eventually, what will the process for a new leader be, and what would happen with the leadership in Cameroon?
As I mentioned during my first intervention, I said the world was reacting. The international market was reacting because there are fears. There are legitimate fears that there will be a fight for succession in Cameroon. And that is already inevitable. The signs are there. Normally, if they were to go by the Constitution, the second in line to the president is the president of the Senate, who is Michael Niadtifenji. That is the current president of the Senate, that by the Constitution should succeed Biya, should something happen to him. But I may like to share with you that that president of the Senate himself is incapacitated as we speak. He has been out of the country for about 6 months. There are claims again, there are rumors that he's been hospitalized somewhere in Paris, seeking treatment, meaning for 6 months today, the president of the Senate, who is the second in line, is nowhere to be found. So there's a possible constitutional crisis in Cameroon, which will fuel the fears that the world is having, that the transition will be chaotic, the succession will be chaotic. This is to add on to the multiple issues going on in Cameroon, like the conflict, the Southern Cameroon conflict, where Paul Biya declared war on a portion of the country that had legitimate political grievances. I don't know if you are aware of the situation. The conflict is ravaging, is going on. People are dying daily. You go to the north of the country, there's a conflict there, the Boko Haram conflict. There are multiple challenges going on in the country, and this is just adding more layers onto the issues. And the fears of a chaotic transition has made the world market, the international debt market, worried, and they're panicking. And that is why the Cameroon sovereign bonds are falling drastically. Bloomberg reported it yesterday, and others are beginning to raise the fears, raise the alarms that there is chaos looming in Cameroon.
Eric Aksha, we'll definitely have to leave it at that. Well, thank you so much for your thoughts on Network Africa. Thank you once again.
It's a pleasure having me. Thank you.
In Nigeria, what could be described as a major milestone in capacity building and deployment was achieved as the Nigerian Navy handed over a fully refurbished naval ship to the Republic of Benin Navy at the Lagos dockyard. The flag officer commanding Western Naval Command, Rear Admiral Mustafa Hassan, and the Admiral Superintendent of the Naval Dockyard, Rear Admiral Abolaji Orederu, admit it's a major leap in the Navy's capability to promote indigenous shipbuilding and maintenance.
With this milestone, we hope to see other countries come in for docking and the use of our facilities at the dockyard. It shows our capabilities, our strength, and we hope to draw many people towards this venture. Before the end of this year, we'll have 3 more of the Beninois ships relaunched and handed over to them after the docking for essential defect. It's a very big milestone for the Nigerian Navy, and we're very proud today to hand over these ships to the Chief of the Naval Staff of the Beninois Navy.
The Benin Republic Navy, they will testify. They did not see a single person from abroad. Everything was done right here. When you talk about the capability of the Naval Dockyard staff, of course, and our contractors and partners, everything was indigenous. Everything was indigenous. The only place you will see maybe a foreign hand is maybe like when we bring in brand new engines for installation.
Meanwhile, the Chief of Operations of the Republic of Benin Navy, Captain Bernard Gusonu, describes this as a significant step for his country and a quest to strengthen regional maritime integration.
This one just show the friendship, the brotherhood relationship between Benin Navy and Nigerian Navy. We just thank them for all the facilities and all the opportunities they give to us, in short. We're going to deploy in our maritime space. Benin and Nigeria, we are in the same zone E maritime sectors, and all of us we are facing different threats at sea, like piracy, illegal activities, and so. So we need this ship, we need all these ships to be able to face all these kind of things. And also in the same way, we need also Nigeria helps, because we have to be together to cooperate to face all these threats. Okay.
The leader of the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, RSF, Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo, known as Hemedti, is accusing Egypt of involvement in airstrikes on the group's troops. In his recorded speech, he also accused Cairo of training and providing drones to the country's regular army, which recently gained an advantage in the civil war that has consumed the country for almost 18 months. He specifically pointed out that Egypt has used U.S. bombs in its strikes, claiming they could not be used if America was not in agreement. The war chief also charged Tigrayan, Eritrean, Azerbaijani and Ukrainian mercenaries for being present in the country and reiterated accusations that Iranians participate in the war alongside the army. Egypt's foreign ministry has denied all accusations. On a lighter note, the coach of Sudanese football club Al Hilal club Omdurman, Florent Ibenge, has explained how the ongoing armed conflict affects the daily lives of his players. He was speaking in an interview during the draw for the group stages of the upcoming CAF Champions League on Monday in Cairo. The club is built to play the Tanzanian League this season after the Sudanese League was halted because of the war. It is aiming to reach the quarterfinals of the CAF, and Ibenge says that his squad is going to put everything into it to please its supporters who cannot watch their favorite club due to the conflict. Meanwhile, other participants, including Guinean national team midfielder Naby Keita, former South African midfielder Sifiwe Shabalala, and administrative manager of Zamalek club Amri Ellis, praised the draw and noted that many teams are in the running for this season's title.
It was a tough draw, but I must say that I expected that, with the teams that qualified, and I think it's good for football. And also it's a good platform for players to raise their hand and show how good they are, and also for the teams, to compete against the best teams in the continent. It's hard to predict who's gonna win it. It's not an easy competition. It's Champions League, and there are a lot of teams that are capable of going all the way and winning it. Al Ahly is very capable. They're defending champions, and Sundowns, they've got quality. They still have a big chance, of winning it. Pirates have been doing well at home, and I'm sure they'll be looking forward to this challenge, and also they can, go all the way.
With the conclusion of the high-level week of the 79th session of the United Nations General Assembly, the UN Second Committee commenced its 79th session with its annual general debate. Nigeria's diplomat Ezekwesili David Anyebu, who was elected vice chair of the UN Second Committee in June this year, delivered Nigeria's national statement. In his remarks, he called for the fulfillment of commitments by developed countries to enable means of implementation of the SDGs for developing countries, which he said could be done in part through provision of climate finance and increase in foreign direct investment flows to Africa. Diplomat Anyegbu is coordinating the facilitation of UN microeconomic resolutions, which include investment, debt, trade, finance for development, illicit financial flows, and tax reforms.
Finally, we saw the World Investment Report for this year, and Africa, their share of just 3.5% of global FDI depreciated by 3%. And yes, we hear that the depreciation was global. Global FDI fell by 2% to 1.3 trillion. But for Africa, for developed countries, they experienced a 9% increase. Developing countries experienced a 7% decrease. And for Africa, our own share fell yet again.
And that's Network Africa. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ayo Tunde Balogun.